the Paw Patrol base, and they are playing in a dance competition where we can see that Roxy is too good and that she had tied in her first participation. But suddenly, we see that the robot is out of energy, and Ryder takes it away to charge it up again. While in the city, Mr. Porter realizes that his truck was stolen, and the farmer says his was missing too. People start saying that their vehicles were stolen, and they call the pups to let them know what happened. Roxy tells her friends that their vehicle was stolen, and they manage to figure out that it was Boomer. But suddenly, we see that he had lost control, and that had caused them to be in trouble. So Ryder decides to call the Paw Patrol, and we see that they gather to hear the mission. Ryder starts telling them that the vehicles were stolen, and that they must get there in time to save their friend. Then the Paw Patrols get into their vehicles, and we see that they are on their way to complete the mission. We go to the city, and the captain was waiting for the pups to arrive. We start to see that Rocky uses his vehicle to recycle the materials, and that he makes an invention to save his friend. While Sky is on her way chasing the clues, and manages to figure out where the vehicles were, Boomer begins to say that he is going to have a presentation, and that he would destroy the vehicles with the help of his truck. Sky is on her way to wake up her friend, and we see that they had accidentally pushed the vehicles. We start to see that they go at high speed to stop the vehicles, and that they manage to save them with their teamwork. So they celebrate that they completed the mission, and that they managed to prevent them from destroying the vehicles. We go to the base, and we see that Roxy uses her vehicle to throw colored confetti. While in the mountains, the cousins are on their way to have an excursion, and begin to investigate the inside of a cave, where we can see that they are taking pictures, and that they got trapped because of a rock slide. Then they say that they need help, and they call the pups to let them know what happened. So Ryder decides to call the Paw Patrols, and we see that they gather to listen to the mission. Ryder starts telling them that their friends are in trouble, and that they have to help them get out of the cave. Then the Paw Patrols get into their vehicles, and we see that they are on their way to complete the mission. We begin to see that they are going at high speed to reach the cave, and that they manage to realize that it was closed. Then they use the vehicles to open the entrance, and we see that by accident, they almost end up being hit. The team enters the cave to help their friends, and Marshall uses the ladder to get them down. But suddenly, we see that the entrance had been closed, and that they can't destroy it because it's too dangerous. Roxy goes at high speed to help her friends, and discovers a passage so they can get out. So, they celebrate that they completed the mission, and that they were able to save them without getting hurt. We go to Jake's Mountain, and the pups are excited about the skating rink. But suddenly, we see that Boomer has arrived, and he wants to compete in a race on the snow. Roxy starts to tell him that it is too dangerous because they can cause an avalanche to occur, to which Boomer tells her that he would not listen to them, and goes at high speed to climb the mountain, which ends up causing the rocks to fall, and they call the pups to ask for their help. So Ryder decides to call out to the Paw Patrol, and we see them gather to hear the mission. Ryder starts telling them what Boomer is doing, and that they must get there in time to stop the avalanches. Then the Paw Patrol get into their vehicles, and we see that they are on their way to complete the mission. While Boomer was speeding up the mountain, and we see that he accidentally kept throwing the rocks, Zuma uses his vehicle to launch some floats, and manages to get there in time to save the bears. Boomer realizes that he's being followed, and hits some rocks to try to get him to stop, which had caused another avalanche to occur, and the pups say they'll take care of it. We begin to see that they are using the vehicles to stop the avalanche, and that they managed to arrive in time to avoid an accident. While Boomer continued on his way up the mountain, and Roxy uses a ramp to get to the top first, but suddenly we see that the top had broken, and they start to fall down sliding on the snow. Then they jump to get back to their vehicles, and manage to stop themselves from getting hurt. So they celebrate that they completed the mission, and that they managed to avoid an accident. We go to the city, and we see that Danny X is playing with his new skateboard. Danny is surprised to meet the champion, and says that he is a fan of the stunts she does. While in the distance they were being watched, and Boomer is jealous that she was asked for pictures. So he approaches Danny to take pictures, and starts lying to him that he would have a presentation. We start to see them go at high speed to perform the stunts, and we see that they accidentally pushed another button, which ends up causing Boomer to get stuck, and Danny calls the pups to ask for their help. So Ryder decides to call the Paw Patrols, and we see that they gather to listen to the mission. Ryder begins to tell them that Boomer is in trouble, and that they must get there in time to stop his vehicle. Then the Paw Patrols get into their vehicles, and we see that they are on their way to complete the mission. We start to see that they are working as a team to solve the problems, and Roxy arrives in time to save him from falling, while the other team is speeding to stop their vehicle, and Chase uses the launcher to save him from an accident. But suddenly we see that Frank is confused about which button to press, and that had caused it to go out of control. Marshall goes at high speed to save his friend, and uses his fire truck to get his backpack to go off. They then use the grappling hooks to save him from falling, and begin pulling pulling him back to the surface, while the other members continued on their way to stop the vehicle, and we see that they work as a team to get it to stop, so they celebrate that they completed the mission and that they managed to avoid